Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sega News Bits. I'm your host, George. With me is Barry.
Hello.
And now that 2016 is coming to an end, we could finally talk about our favorite Sega games of 2016. And, it's kind of disappointing because, I know you guys are probably thinking we're going to pick something different, but we actually picked the same game. We both picked 7th Dragon 3 Code BCD or VFD?
I like VCD,
VCD,
but no,
right?
it's VFD.
Yeah. I always forget the letters. I did a preview for the game a while back, and I also messed it up.
I can't wait for 7th Dragon 4 DVD, and then they have Blu-ray after that.
Ooh, that would have been a pretty good marketing strategy. But why did you pick the game, Barry?
Well, some people might say I picked it because it's been a pretty light year for Sega, and it has. But it is actually a really fun game, and like I've said in past Sega News Bits where we talked about the game, I'm not a big RPG guy because I just don't have time to play on my home console. So when a handheld one comes out, especially from Sega, I'll play it. And, we haven't seen an RPG... When's the last time we've really seen an RPG from Sega on handheld outside of maybe PSP and Vita? Not really.
Not really, no. Not on 3DS especially.
No, and I mean with the people who were behind this game, and also just with the fact that it kind of plays like Phantasy Star a little bit. It's just, there's a lot of things I like about this game. I really like the mix of technology and fantasy. I like the time travel aspect. I like the fact that there's a difficulty level so that I can play it. And it actually mixes it up really well. I like that there's different character classes and they play a little differently, and you can switch up teams. I think my one complaint is that there's no real main character that you latch onto because you create the main character, kind of like PSO,
Yeah.
But I liked it. I loved it.
Yeah, and I agree with all that. The reason I picked it, though, is because it kind of shows you that Sega has changed as a publisher in America, and this is kind of like a title that I didn't think this franchise was ever going to get here. This franchise has been around since 2009 on the original DS, and I never thought they were going to bring it over here, ever. It was the biggest surprise. So this kind of shows you that Sega of America is not afraid to take old franchises, even if it's in the third entry, and it's long RPG, They usually don't want to do these things because it takes a lot of money to, translate and localize.
Right.
So, yeah, this is a huge game for them, I think, just in localization. And you know what? Sega did not have a great year like we talked about. We could, talk about it a little bit. Sega this year is not going to be winning any Game of the Year awards from mainstream sites. And you know what? It's not that big a deal. I think, it is a big deal. I mean, being a Sega fan, but they are in a restructure period, and they're showing you how they're changing. They're showing you that they're going to be bringing in quality titles and not just, everything. I don't know if you guys were around buying Sega games back in the middle 2000s. There was some great games. You guys could look back and be all like, oh, I remember that game. But for every game that you liked, there was probably 6, 7, 8 games that were 100% trash games. They had a lot of
Golden Compass.
Yeah, there you go, Golden Compass. That
Marvel's games.
The Marvel games, the Pilates games with Daisy Fuentes.
And who do we blame for all these games? Which region?
Sega of America.
Yeah.
So it's cool that they're finally figuring it out that we rather have good games than just you guys trying to cash in on whatever trend is going on in America.
Yeah, and I know there have been some fans who have bemoaned the fact that Sega of America has essentially become a localization factory. But, as you mentioned, and I think as we've discussed in past shows, name a great Sega of America developed and published game in the past 10 years. Really, I'm trying to think Shinobi 3DS, and even that had problems.
It's pretty hard. You're not going to find one. So
yeah,
I was gonna say, since we already picked the same game, I wanted to put an honorable mention in, and mine was Sega 3D Classics, because it's been a while also that we've gotten a collection of classic games, and this one does not focus on Sonic. It has Sonic in it, but even if you look at the cover, Sonic is not the main focus. I feel like old Sega of America would have taken all the other characters off, blew up Sonic, made him take up the whole spot, and kind of sold it as Sonic's and Sega 3D Classics
Right.
collections. That's my honorable mention. What's your honorable mention, Barry?
I was just going to say about that one, I remember when they announced the cover art, and I was thinking how wild it is that we have the Power Drift guy on like store shelves in 2016.
Oh, it's crazy. I didn't think that was ever going to happen.
That ranks up there as the weirdest Sega thing to happen this year. My honorable mention, so I'm not like you, so I don't pick Sega 3D Classics Collection. I'm going to pick one that's a little controversial that maybe you don't like. I don't know. I'm going to go with Sonic Boom Fire and Ice. And the reason I'm going to pick that is because I feel like the game came, the game went, and it did not bring with it the same hate that the other ones brought with it. Like, people were like, oh, I'm ready to hate this thing. Oh, it's going to be shit. And then it came out and people were like, oh, it was pretty good.
Yeah,
was good.
I'm surprised. I was surprised about that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like we're not dwelling on it. We're not talking about it. It hasn't become a meme or anything. Like, people are just like, yeah, you should check it out. It's pretty good. And I played it through. I haven't really revisited it, but then again, I haven't really revisited any of the Dimps games either. And I'll be honest, I think Fire and Ice is a lot better than most of the recent Dimps games. I think Sega's done with Dimps, to be honest, but that's a whole other topic. Yeah, that's my pick as an honorable mention. So really, and just as evidenced by all her picks here, it's the year of the 3DS, really. And it's a good year to go out on, I think, for the 3DS for Sega, because I don't think we're going to be seeing much next year. Maybe 3D Classics Collection 2, maybe Puyo Puyo Chronicles, maybe.
So let us know what your Sega Game of the Year is, and what do you guys think about our picks? Put that in the comments. So yeah, I wonder how many people are going to hate every single choice we have.
I do.
Already?